Commander Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of the USS Defiant. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. The lights from the control panels cast shadows on his tired face. He had not slept well in 3 days. Something was very wrong. In the Kepler sector dot, 3 human colonies had stopped talking to Earth. New Terra went silent first. Then Haven Colony. Yesterday, Prosperity Station sent one last message before their signal died. Jake knew what this meant. The aliens were coming. Lieutenant. Amy Peterson sat at her communication station. Her fingers moved quickly over the buttons. She tried again and again to reach the colonies. Each time she heard only empty space. No voices, no distress calls, nothing. Still no contact, sir, Amy said without looking up. Her voice was quiet, but steady. She had been trying for hours. Jake nodded. He walked to the big screen that showed star maps. Red dots marked where the colonies used to be. Now those dots blinked like warning lights. Each one meant thousands of people who might be dead. Captain Lisa Barnes came onto the bridge. She was the fleet commander. Her gray hair was pulled back tight. Her face looked serious. Behind her walked Chief Engineer Ryan Cole. His hands were dirty from working on the engines. Report, Lisa said. Jake pointed to the screen. All 3 colonies are dark. The last message from Prosperity Station mentioned strange ships in their system. Then nothing. Lisa studied the map. She had seen wars before. She knew what silence meant when it came from human worlds. How long to reach Kepler sector? 18 hours at maximum speed, Ryan answered. But I can push the engines harder. Maybe cut that to 15 hours. Do it, Lisa said. Send word to the Valor and Guardian. We leave in 1 hour. Amy looked up from her station. Ma'am, should we wait for more ships? Intelligence says the hegemony has a big fleet. Lisa shook her head. Those people can't wait. If anyone is still alive, they need help now. Jake had read the intelligence reports. The hegemony was an alien empire that had been taking over worlds for hundreds of years. They had better ships than humans, better weapons, better shields. But they had never fought humans before. Ryan hurried back to the engine room. Jake could hear him shouting orders over the ship's communication system. The Defiant began to hum as the engines powered. Up, the ship felt different when it was ready to fight. Other crew members moved around the bridge. Lieutenant Tom Brady checked the weapon systems. Sergeant Mary Johnson made sure the Marines were ready. Dr. Helen White prepared the medical bay. For wounded soldiers. Jake watched them work. These people were his family. They had served together for 2 years. They trusted each other. That trust might be the only thing that kept them alive in the next few days. The big screen changed to show the other human ships. The USS Valor was bigger than the Defiant. It carried more guns and more soldiers. The USS Guardian was smaller but faster. Together, the 3 ships made a small fleet. All ships report ready, Amy said. Lisa sat in the captain's chair. Take us out. Space around them began to change as the ships entered hyperspace. Stars became long lines of light. Jake felt his stomach drop as gravity shifted. He had made this jump many times, but it never felt normal. 15 hours to Kepler. Ryan's voice came through the speakers. Jake walked to his station and called up the enemy files. The hegemony ships were huge. Some were 10 times bigger than human ships. Their weapons could destroy cities from space. Their shields could stop almost any attack. But Jake noticed something in the reports. The hegemony always fought the same way. They lined up their ships in neat rows. They fired their big guns. They expected the enemy to surrender or die. They had never lost a battle. Amy was reading the same reports. How are we supposed to fight them? She asked. Jake smiled for the first time in days. We don't fight them the way they expect. Lisa heard this and nodded. Humans don't follow the rules in war. That's what makes us dangerous. The hours passed slowly. Jake tried to rest, but could not sleep. He kept thinking about the colonies. New Terra had 50,000 people. Haven Colony had 30,000. Prosperity Station was smaller, but still home to 10,000 humans. Ryan worked without stopping. He made the engines run faster than they were designed to. The ship shook. Sometimes, but it kept moving. Every minute counted now. Tom Brady ran weapons tests. The Defiant's guns were small compared to hegemony weapons, but they were fast and accurate. Mary Johnson trained her Marines for boarding actions. If they got close to enemy ships, the Marines would have to fight inside them. Dr. White set up extra beds in the medical bay. She knew there would be wounded people to save. Maybe wounded civilians from the colonies if they were lucky. Jake looked at the countdown timer. 8 hours to Kepler. He wondered what they would find there. Would the colonies still exist? Would there be survivors hiding somewhere? Or would they find only empty space where human worlds used to be? Amy received a message from Earth Command. More human ships were coming, but they would take days to arrive. The Defiant, Valor, and Guardian were alone. No pressure, Jake said quietly. Lisa stood up and spoke to the whole crew through the ship's communication system. In 8 hours, we'll reach Kepler Sector. We don't know what we'll find there. We might be outnumbered. We might be outgunned. But we're going anyway, because that's what humans do. We don't leave our people behind. The bridge was quiet for a moment. And Amy spoke up. Those aliens picked the wrong species to mess with. Jake nodded. The hegemony had never fought humans. Before, they were about to learn what that meant. The USS Defiant dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge and stared at the main screen. What he saw made his blood run cold. New Terra was burning. The planet that used to be green and blue was now orange and red. Fires covered the surface where cities used to be. The oceans were boiling. Nothing could be alive down there. My God, Amy Peterson whispered from her station dot around the dead planet. Alien ships moved in slow circles. Jake counted 37 of them. Each ship was 3 times bigger than the Defiant. They looked like giant metal insects with long arms sticking out from their sides. Those arms held the weapons that had killed New Terra. Captain Lisa Barnes came onto the bridge. She looked at the screen and her face went hard. Any sign of our people? Amy shook her head. No escape pods, no distress signals, nothing. Jake studied the alien ships through the telescope. They were beautiful in a deadly way. Their hulls were smooth and dark. Energy fields flickered around them like blue fire. These were the ships of the hegemony. Captain, we're getting a transmission, Amy said. It's from the aliens. Put it on speaker. A voice filled the bridge. It sounded like metal scraping against stone. The alien spoke in its own language first, then switched to broken English. Human. Ships. You are in hegemony space now. Your species is weak. Your planets belong to us. Surrender or be destroyed. Lisa walked closer to the screen. This is Captain Barnes of the United Earth Fleet. You have attacked human colonies without warning. We demand an explanation. The alien voice laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Explanation? We take what we want. Your people fought poorly. They died quickly. Soon all humans will be gone from this galaxy. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. These creatures had murdered millions of people, and they thought it was funny. He looked around the bridge. Every crew member had the same look on their face. They wanted to fight. Track their formations, Lisa ordered. I want to know how they move. Lieutenant Tom Brady worked at his station. They're flying in perfect lines. 6 ships per group. They stay exactly the same distance apart. Jake watched the alien fleet through the telescope. Tom was right. The hegemony ships moved like they were connected by invisible strings. When one ship turned, they all turned at the same time. When one ship slowed down, they all slowed down. They fight like a machine, Jake said. That might be their weakness, Lisa replied. The USS Valor and USS Guardian came out of hyperspace behind them. Admiral Kevin Price's voice came through the communication system. What's the situation? New Terra is gone, Lisa answered. 37 enemy ships. They just told us they plan to kill all humans in the galaxy. Then we better change their minds. Jake pulled up the intelligence files on his screen. He studied everything they knew about hegemony weapons and shields. The aliens had powerful energy beams that could cut through most armor. But those weapons took time to charge between shots. Amy, scan their communication frequencies, Jake ordered. Amy worked at her station for several minutes. Got it, sir. They're talking to each other constantly, sharing target information, coordinating their movements. Can we jam their signals? Maybe. But they might have backup systems. Jake had an idea. What if we don't jam them? What if we listen instead? Diana Foster was the communication officer on the USS Valor. Her voice came through the speakers. I'm picking up their transmissions, too. They're not even trying to hide them. They think we're too stupid to understand. What are they saying? Lisa asked. They're arguing about whether to keep some humans alive as specimens or kill everyone. They think we're like animals in a zoo. Jake felt his anger grow stronger. These aliens saw humans as pets or toys. They had no idea what they were dealing with. Captain, I have an idea, Jake said. Lisa nodded for him to continue. They fight in perfect formations because that's how their computers work. But humans don't fight like computers. We're unpredictable, chaotic. That scares them. Go on. Look at their ships. They're staying far away from New Terra's debris field. They think it's dangerous to fly through wreckage. Lisa smiled. But humans have been flying through asteroid fields and debris for centuries. Exactly. We can use the wreckage as cover. Get close before they know we're there. Admiral Price's voice came through the speakers. It's risky. One wrong move, and we'll be smashed to pieces. Better than sitting here while they pick us off one by one, Lisa replied. Tom Brady looked up from his weapons station. Captain, their shields are designed to stop energy weapons. But I'm reading weak spots where the shield generators connect. Can we target those spots? If we get close enough? Real close. Jake looked at the tactical display. The Guardian was the smallest and fastest of their ships. It could slip through the debris field without being seen. The Defiant and Valor could follow behind, using the Guardian as a guide. We'll need perfect timing, Jake said. Hit them before they can coordinate a response. Lisa spoke to the whole fleet. All ships, this is Barnes. We're going to show these aliens what happens when they mess with humanity. Guardian will lead us through the debris field. Stay close and stay quiet. Captain Sam Turner of the Guardian responded. Copy that. Beginning approach now. The 3 human ships moved toward New Terra's debris field. Chunks of metal and rock floated in space where the planet cities used to be. Each piece was a reminder of the people who had died here. Jake watched the alien ships on the screen. They were still flying in their perfect formations, still following their computer programs. They had no idea that 3 small human ships were about to teach them the difference between following orders and fighting for survival. Entering debris field now, Sam Turner reported. The real battle was about to begin. The USS Guardian moved like a ghost through the debris field. Captain Sam Turner flew his ship between chunks of metal and rock. Each piece used to be part of New Terra's cities. Now they were weapons waiting to be used. Jake Morrison watched from the Defiance bridge as the Guardian disappeared behind a large piece of wreckage. The alien ships could not see them anymore. Their sensors were confused by all the floating metal. Guardian is in position, Sam Turner's voice whispered. Through the speakers. Captain Lisa Barnes nodded. Defiant and Valor, begin approach. Stay low and quiet. The Defiant followed the Guardian's path through the debris. Chief Engineer Ryan Cole had turned off most of the ship's systems. They were running silent, like a submarine in an old Earth. War. The only sounds on the bridge were quiet breathing and the soft hum of life support. Amy Peterson monitored the alien communications. They're still talking to each other. No change in their formations. They don't know we're here. Jake studied the enemy fleet through the periscope. The aliens had arranged their ships in 6 perfect groups. Each group had 6 ships flying in a straight line. They moved slowly around New Terra like they owned the place. Target the command ship, Lisa ordered quietly. Tom Brady worked at his weapons station. Locked on to the big one in the center. But Captain, our weapons aren't strong enough to punch through their shields. They will be when we get close enough. The plan was simple but dangerous. The Guardian would attack first, drawing the aliens' attention. While they were distracted, the Defiant and Valor would come out of the debris field and hit them from 2 different sides. Jake knew this was their only chance. If they tried to fight the aliens in open space, the human ships would be destroyed in minutes. But here, hidden in the wreckage of New Terra, they had surprise on their side. Guardian is ready, Sam Turner reported. Valor is in position, Admiral Kevin Price added. Lisa took a deep breath. All ships, this is for New Terra. Attack! The Guardian burst from behind a chunk of debris like a hunting shark. Its weapons fired rapid bursts at the nearest alien ship. The enemy's shields flashed blue as they absorbed the hits. The alien fleet immediately changed formation. All 37 ships turned toward the Guardian. Their big weapons began to charge with a low humming sound. They're taking the bait, Jake said, but the aliens were faster than expected. Energy beams lanced out from 6 different ships. The Guardian's shields flashed red as they tried to absorb the hits. One beam got through and struck the ship's hull. Guardian is hit. Sam Turner's voice was strained. Hull breach on deck 3. But we're still fighting. Now it was the Defiant's turn. Lisa ordered full power to the engines. The ship shot out of the debris field like a bullet. They were only 2 miles from the alien command ship when the enemy sensors finally detected them. Fire everything. Lisa shouted. The Defiant's weapons opened up at point-blank range. Missiles and energy beams hit the alien ship's shields. The blue energy field flickered and sparked. For a moment, Jake thought their attack had failed. Then Tom Brady found the weak spot. There, where the shield generators connect, I can see the gap. A stream of armor-piercing rounds punched through the shield gap and hit the alien ship's hull. The command ship shuddered as explosions rippled across its surface. The USS Valor attacked from the other side. Admiral Price had brought his ship in low, using New Terra's gravity to increase his speed. The Valor's heavy weapons hammered another alien ship until its shields collapsed completely. But the aliens were learning fast. Instead of keeping their perfect formations, they began to spread out. Some ships moved to surround the human vessels. Others tried to get clear shots at the Guardian. They're adapting, Jake warned. The battle became a deadly dance in the debris field. Human ships used chunks of wreckage as shields while alien beams tried to find them. The Guardian was badly damaged but still fighting. Captain Turner used his ship's speed to stay ahead of the enemy weapons. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes led the Marine boarding team from the Defiant. When a damaged alien ship drifted close, he ordered his men to cross over in spacesuits. The Marines attached themselves to the enemy hull and began cutting through the metal. "Boarding party is inside the alien ship," Ben reported over the radio. What happened next surprised everyone. The aliens inside their ship had never fought hand-to-hand combat before. They had weapons, but they didn't know how to use them against humans who fought with knives, tools, and anything else they could find. Ben's Marines fought through the alien ship's corridors. The creatures were tall and thin with 4 arms, but they moved slowly and couldn't react fast enough to human attacks. Within minutes, the Marines had taken control of the ship's engine room. "We've got their computer system," Ben reported. "The aliens are uploading their battle plans to each other in real time. But I think we can turn that against them." Dr. Kate Sullivan was the science officer on the USS Valor. She had been studying the alien transmissions during the battle. "If we can hack into their communication network, we might be able to confuse their coordination." Jake had another idea. "What if we don't just confuse them? What if we make them attack each other?" The plan was risky, but they were running out of time. The Guardian was taking heavy damage and couldn't last much longer. More alien ships were moving to surround the human fleet. Ben's Marines worked frantically inside the captured alien ship. They found the communication system and began uploading false data. Instead of sending accurate target information to the other alien ships, they sent coordinates that would make the aliens fire at each other. The first false signal went out. 3 alien ships immediately turned their weapons toward what they thought was a human vessel. Instead, they fired on one of their own ships. "It's working," Amy shouted from her station, but the aliens quickly realized what was happening. They began shutting down their communication network to stop the false signals. The human trick had worked for only a few minutes. Jake looked at the tactical display. They had destroyed 4 alien ships and damaged several others. But 28 enemy vessels were still fighting, and they were angry now. The real test was just beginning. News of the battle at Kepler system spread across the galaxy like wildfire. For the first time in 1,000 years, someone had actually hurt the hegemony fleet. The aliens were not happy about this. War Prime Zexter was the supreme commander of all hegemony forces. He lived on a massive ship called the Destroyer of Worlds. When he heard that humans had defeated 37 of his ships, he became very angry. Jake Morrison sat in the medical bay of the USS Defiant. A piece of metal had cut his arm during the battle, but he was alive. Around him, other crew members were being treated for wounds. They had won the fight, but it cost them. The USS Guardian was badly damaged. Captain Sam Turner had managed to keep his ship together, but it needed major repairs. The Defiant and Valor had taken hits too, but they could still fight. "How many did we lose?" Jake asked Dr. Helen White as she bandaged his arm. 43 crew members across all 3 ships, Helen replied quietly. "Could have been much worse." Jake nodded. In space battles, people died quickly when ships broke apart. They had been lucky. But he knew their luck would not last forever. Captain Lisa Barnes called all senior officers to the bridge. Amy Peterson was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. What she heard was not good news. "A hegemony is sending a massive fleet toward Earth," Amy reported. "Over 200 ships, led by War Prime Zexter himself." Jake felt his stomach drop. 200 ships was 10 times what they had just fought. Earth had defenses, but nothing that could stop a fleet that size. "How long do we have?" Lisa asked. 6 days until they reached the Sol system. Lisa turned to the communication panel. "Get me Earth Command. Priority Alpha." The face of General Tony Mitchell appeared on the screen. He was the head of Earth's defense forces. His gray hair and serious expression made him look older than his 60 years. "We heard about your victory at Kepler," Tony said. "Well done." But we have a problem. We know about the hegemony fleet heading for Earth, Lisa replied. Every ship we have is being recalled to defend the home system. Civilian vessels are being armed with whatever weapons we can find. Even cargo ships are getting missile launchers. Jake thought about Earth. 3 billion people live there. They had nowhere to run if the planet fell. This would be humanity's final battle. What about the other colonies? Lisa asked. Mars Base is sending everything they have. The lunar defense platforms are fully armed. We're turning the entire Sol system into a fortress. Amy looked up from her station. Sir, I'm getting reports from all over human space. Colony ships are turning around to help defend Earth. Transport vessels are bringing supplies. Everyone is coming home. Jake had never seen anything like it. Humans who had been scattered across dozens of worlds were all coming together to defend their birthplace. Families who had not spoken in years were working side by side. Old enemies were becoming allies, but it might not be enough. Dr. Kate Sullivan from the USS Valor had spent the last 3 days studying the alien technology they had captured. She had made an important discovery. The hegemony shields are powerful, but they have a weakness, Kate explained over the communication link. They're designed to stop energy weapons, but they're much weaker against solid objects moving at high speed. Jake thought about this. You mean like bullets? Exactly, but much bigger bullets. Chief Engineer Ryan Cole was listening to the conversation. What if we used the manufacturing systems on our ships to make giant metal rods? Fire them like bullets. At the alien ships? That could work, Kate said. If we can get them moving fast enough. The idea was simple, but dangerous. Each human ship had machines that could make parts and tools. They could use these machines to create thousands of long metal rods. Then they would fire these rods at the alien ships using magnetic launchers. It's like turning our ships into giant shotguns, Jake said. Over the next 3 days, every human ship in the Sol system worked without stopping. They made metal rods from anything they could find. Old pipes, spare parts, even pieces of broken. Ships were melted down and formed into ammunition. Captain Sam Turner had brought the Guardian back to Earth for repairs. He was amazed by what he saw. The whole planet is working together. I've never seen anything like it. Children helped carry supplies to the factories. Old people who had retired from the military came back to help load weapons. Scientists worked alongside soldiers to improve the defenses. Meanwhile, the hegemony fleet continued toward Earth. War Prime Zexter was confident that his massive force would crush the humans easily. He had never lost a battle. He did not plan to start now, but something was happening that he did not expect. Other alien races were watching the approaching battle. For centuries, they had been afraid of the hegemony. Now they saw that these powerful conquerors could be beaten. Some aliens began to send secret messages to Earth. They offered to share information about hegemony weaknesses. Others promised to help after the battle if humans could win. Jake stood on the observation deck of the USS Defiant and looked out at the Sol system. Hundreds of human ships moved in formation around Earth. Some were military vessels painted in gray and black. Others were civilian ships with bright colors and company logos. It's beautiful, Amy said, joining him at the window. It's our last chance, Jake replied. In 2 days, the hegemony fleet would arrive. Humanity would either prove they belonged among the stars, or they would be wiped out completely. There was no middle ground, but Jake was not afraid anymore. Looking at all those ships, filled with people who refused to give up, he felt something else. He felt proud to be human. The hegemony fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system like a dark storm. War Prime Zexter looked at his tactical display and smiled. 214 ships under his command. The largest fleet ever assembled. These humans would be crushed within hours. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, humanity's newest battleship. Built in just 6 days, using parts from dozens of other ships, it was not pretty, but it was ready to fight. Jake had been promoted to admiral after the victory at Kepler. Enemy fleet detected, Amy Peterson reported from her station. She was now Jake's communication officer aboard the Liberty. They're moving into attack formation. Jake studied the enemy fleet through the main viewer. The alien ships looked like deadly insects floating in space. Each one was massive and powerful. But Jake was not afraid. Around Earth, over 300 human ships waited in hidden positions. Captain Lisa Barnes commanded the defense fleet from the USS Defiant. Her voice came through the speakers. All ships, remember the plan. Let them get close before we strike. The hegemony fleet moved slowly toward Earth. War Prime Zexter expected the humans to run or surrender. Instead, he found empty space. No ships, no defenses, just silence. Where are they hiding? He asked his officers in the alien language. Lieutenant. Colonel Ben Hayes was now aboard the Liberty with his Marine units. He had learned to speak some of the alien language from prisoners taken at Kepler. He's asking where we are, Ben translated. He'll find out soon enough, Jake replied. The human plan was different from anything the hegemony had seen before. Instead of meeting the enemy head-on, human ships were hidden behind asteroids, moons, and space stations. When the aliens got close enough, they would attack from all sides at once. War Prime Zexter ordered his fleet to spread out and search for the humans. This was exactly what Jake wanted. When the alien ships separated, they became easier targets. Now, Jake ordered, 300 human ships appeared from their hiding places. The USS Liberty led the charge, firing thousands of metal rods at the alien command ship. The rods moved so fast, they looked like streams of light. The aliens had never seen weapons like this before. Their energy shields tried to stop the metal rods, but failed. The rods punched through the shields and hit the alien hulls like hammers. Zexter's ship shook as dozens of rods struck it. Impossible, he roared. How are they doing this? But the humans were just getting started. Captain Sam Turner brought the USS Guardian out from behind Earth's moon. His ship had been rebuilt with new weapons, designed specifically to fight the hegemony. Dr. Kate Sullivan had figured out how to turn the aliens' own weapons against them. Human ships now carried devices that could absorb alien energy beams and shoot them back twice as strong. The battle lasted for 3 days. It was the biggest space fight in galactic history. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Debris filled the space around Earth like a metal snowstorm. On the second day, Ben Hayes led a boarding party onto War Prime Zexter's flagship. The alien commander was huge, over 8 feet tall with 4 powerful arms. But he had never fought a human. Soldier face to face. Your species will die today, Zexter said in broken English. We'll see about that, Ben replied. The fight between Ben and Zexter lasted 20 minutes. The alien was stronger, but Ben was faster and smarter. When Zexter tried to use his size advantage, Ben used the alien's own weight against him. In the end, Ben stood over the defeated War Prime. We didn't want this war, but we'll finish it. With their leader captured, the hegemony fleet began to fall apart. Some ships tried to escape. Others surrendered. A few kept fighting until they were destroyed. Jake made a decision that would change galactic history. Instead of destroying all the alien ships, he offered them a choice. Surrender and live, or keep fighting and die. We don't want to kill you, but we will if we have to. Most of the aliens chose to surrender. They had never met an enemy that showed mercy to defeated foes. This confused them, but also impressed them. The aftermath of the Battle of Seoul changed. everything. News spread across the galaxy that the mighty hegemony had been defeated by a species they had called primitive. Other alien races that had been enslaved by the hegemony began to rebel. Admiral Jake Morrison found himself in charge of the largest fleet in known space. Captured hegemony ships were repaired and added to the human forces. Alien species that had been conquered for centuries asked to join the new alliance. Amy Peterson established communication with dozens of different species. Each one wanted to learn how humans had defeated the hegemony. The answer was always the same. Humans fight for each other, not for conquest. 6 months after the battle, Jake stood on the observation deck of the Liberty and looked out at the fleet. Human ships flew alongside alien vessels that had once been enemies. Former hegemony soldiers now served as crew members on human ships. Captain Lisa Barnes joined him at the window. "Think it will last?" she asked. "As long as we remember why we fought," Jake replied. "We didn't fight to rule the galaxy. We fought to protect our people." The phrase, "hang tight, battleship en route," became famous throughout human space. It was painted on ships and carved into monuments. It meant that no human would ever fight alone again. War Prime Zexter was kept as a prisoner, but he was treated well. Eventually, he began to understand what made humans different. They had defeated his empire not through cruelty or conquest, but through determination and the refusal to abandon each other. Years later, when alien children asked their parents about the Great War, they were told about the species that changed everything. Humans, they learned, were not the strongest or the smartest race in the galaxy, but they were the ones who refused to give up, and that made all the difference.